Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. It's a great day for the Pirate Broadcast, and we are here again for another episode. And also, we got a new pirate in the house. We got Kenneth is going to join us here, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn a little bit. So, Kenneth, good morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, doing really, really well. Started the new year. It's great to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's nice to have somebody like yourself that is familiar with LinkedIn, sharing a few tips and methods of making sure that we're staying connected on this platform and making sure that we have the connections we need to continue to grow our business. And how did you manage to navigate your life into this direction and being a LinkedIn trainer and being somebody that's interested in LinkedIn? You've been on LinkedIn for a while. Tell us your backstory.
Yeah, sure. Well, back 2008, 2009, like everyone else, I lost my job, just, for all different things. And I started using LinkedIn back then as a job seeker, and it got me basically every job after that from recommendations and just connecting with people. Last year, my last assignment ended, and I figured, no problem, I'm going to get another job. And then a month later, or a week later, actually, I broke my wrist, and that was it.
Holy cow!
I was out for about 2 months, so I figured I have to do something else, with my time. So I figured, let me just make a go of this. And I didn't think the pandemic was going to happen then, of course. I mean, no one really did. So in a way, that
was not a planned event, I don't think.
No, but I kind of fell into this. And so I started doing some training and doing some stuff online. And then it just led from one thing to another. And I've made some great connections all over the world too. So it's been fun, actually, although it's not a common thing to say in these times.
Yeah. And really, I was the same situation. I had just moved to Houston in 2010. I'd kind of survived it. The company was in chapter 11 and, restructuring, or chapter 7. I don't know what, it was restructuring its finances. And then they moved me to Houston because of my position, climbed up the ladder. And then all of a sudden I'm tossed out the corporate window, the ivory tower, as they say.
Yeah.
And similar situation. So I don't want to diminish that at all. I do want to, however, understand and appreciate the people that are in the situation of not having a job right now. And LinkedIn has been a huge benefit for a lot of people that are searching for making connections and relationships, because that's really what it's about. I think, Kenneth, is building connections that allow you to have a conversation that lead to new opportunities. And
absolutely. I think one of the misunderstandings is you're not going to get a job from LinkedIn, but you may get closer to a job. You may build relationships. And I think once people realize that, it makes a big difference.
Well, it's not a resume site. A lot of people, a lot of people think, well, I just need to post my resume up there and then people will find me. And it's not necessarily the case at all. So navigate us through some of the things that you learned and when you started then compared to what you've seen now and how it's evolved. What are some key points that you've?
Well, I think the first thing I think about, which is a more recent thing, is you want to write the LinkedIn profile for people who are going to want to hire you. Your past experience is all well and good, but people want to know what you can do for them. So it's taking that past experience and making it, well, this is what I can do for you now. Your job title at the top is not what you did, it's what you want to do. Yeah. And then the other aspect is about the keywords, but there's a balance to it. I look at profiles all day, and I'll have a conversation with you like this on the side, and then I'll say, why isn't this on your LinkedIn profile? It's not doing much good to tell me when you can tell millions of other people. And then the aha moment comes up. Really? Yeah.
It's really about being engaged in. It's just like anything else in life. You have to be present. You have to be engaged. You have to start the conversation and communicate your value to the benefit of others. And that's the same thing in LinkedIn. Just share what you can do to bring value to other people.
And
And that's the
also,
way I look at it.
you also don't want to be afraid to ask people for help. And that's a big thing that a lot of job seekers are like, they don't want to ask for help. Why not?
Yeah.
Just mention what you want help with. I mean, most people are very giving on the platform. There are a lot of issues with automated connection requests, but that's just a side product. I mean, it's what we all deal with from time to time.
Sure. You know, it's interesting too, because I think on your profile you said something about being an introvert.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
and I think, I think of networking and an introvert, and LinkedIn kind of fits the spot for you then in a lot of ways, doesn't it? Because you can actually advertise and have a conversation without having to go out. And
I was the type of person that when you went to a networking event in person, I'd be like, why am I here? I don't know anyone. I'm going to be that person, against the wall. So this has given me an opportunity to build out a voice.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are introverts on this platform. And, I think the first post I did about it was like an aha moment too. For sure. Now, are you an introvert?
I'm more of an ambivert.
Okay.
I've been building communities and networking for years in a lot of different ways. And I have friends that are extroverts that they go to a networking event. There are lots of people, a lot of energy, and they leave excited, they leave invigorated. And for myself, I could be there because, I was a musician, I played music, I entertained, I was on stage, when I did things, however, if I get in a crowd and I'm doing a lot of things with a lot of people, and I kind of leave exhausted, it drains me a little bit, and I have to have some quiet time to really, to be in a place where I'm feeling recharged. It's like, okay, I need downtime more than a lot of energy in the room. So
I think a lot of the challenges now with all of us being zoomed out sometimes and just like one to the other, I always say as a tip, schedule some downtime out of the office time, even if you're not out of the office, just to remember to do things, whether it's to eat or just kind of decompress. Because before you know it, it's 9 o'clock at night. You've been on calls all day.
I know. I looked up last night. It was midnight. It's like, why am I still up? It's like, I got to get up in the morning. So, hey, I want to give a shout out to Nick. Nick is an awesome individual that I met through LinkedIn. He was actually in Seattle at the time, and we had him on the Pirate broadcast and brought him on, and he's been growing his network. He's now started a podcast. He's doing some amazing work out there. If you're not connected to the Pirate Nick, go out there and do that. Michael Baker is always so supportive. Michael, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and what you're doing out there. Thank you for showing up on a regular basis and contributing to the stream. I love that. Nick also adds, no resumes, personal brand yourself by good content and engaging. Let's talk. And then he also goes on to say, great headline and summary is huge. What are your thoughts on that?
The headline has to be positioned in a certain way to differentiate yourself from everyone else. And the good thing about LinkedIn is you have a way every week to see what's working, what's not working, but it should be not just that I'm out of work, not just I'm looking for a new opportunity. It's like, what are the skills? And the about section, I think a little suggestion is, or the summary section, the only thing most people are going to see are the first 3 lines until they select the more. So you want to really make those stand out. So people want to read more. It's all searchable, but it's all about, first impressions.
Yeah. And I think that people need to, kind of do some homework on that too. Is a lot of, I've adjusted my content all the time, and I go back and I look at it. I think, what was I thinking? Being a creative, it's like sometimes being too creative is a disadvantage, because you're like, people confuse the message with what your intent is, and it's So it's always good to have somebody else look at it too.
Yeah, I also think it's important to have, I mean, I call it a job search posse, if you will, but it's like a job search team, and you can have a networking group the same way, so you bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah.
You can trust different than your family and friends, but people that are, either in this similar situation that will be very supportive of you.
Well, and also, yeah, I'm also a huge fan of masterminds and getting involved and engaged in a group of people that can help bring some accountability to your life, and also, give you a reality check now and then, saying, hey, this is confusing to me, and I don't know why you're saying that. But that's always a good strategy to have in place. Let's talk about content.
Sure.
There's really, there's text content, text posts, there's video posts, there's live streaming, video,
right.
Whether you upload it natively or,
right.
A lot of people also put their links in from YouTube. And I don't think that gets as much traction.
Not really, no.
And then there's you can do slides. You can do a slide.
Yeah, you can attach documents and all that too. I would
say. Do you have any favorites?
Well, I would say, first of all, even more than anything else, you want to be consistent. If you post something now and you don't post something for a month or so, or a week or so, you're not going to get much engagement. So you want to have, whether it's every other day or however often, but even more than that, LinkedIn just changed its algorithm again. It used to be that when you posted something in the first hour or so, if you didn't get any hits, you were going to be sent down. Now it's gradual. So you want to think about content that might still be relevant in 3 or 4 days.
Interesting.
Yeah, because that's, I think a lot of us get a lot of our hits later on. And even now, you want to be a little bit different between all the Happy New Year, let's get going with our January successes. I mean, I think video probably is the best thing. But it's, for me, most people, I would say, find an article of interest, cut and paste it, put a few lines in as to why you're sharing the article, or do something like a very basic top 10 tips or something, or just, even if you attended this broadcast today. I attended the broadcast. I learned this, or I want to do this, or thanks, just something. But it's all about a process and doing it on a regular basis with whatever you do.
Consistency is key.
Yes.
Kathy Spooner says, hey, good morning, Pirates. Early morning for me, and I'm glad to join in this morning. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for being here. And it is early. Nancy, it is really early for Nancy. She's on the West Coast, so she's an hour earlier than we are. And Michael Baker says, it's a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much. And he goes on to say, reevaluation, refocus, prioritize your priorities. Absolutely, positively. So on LinkedIn, Kenneth, what are some priorities we need to have? Consistency. I totally agree with you. Absolutely consistent. I show up every day for that reason. I, post on a regular basis. I unfortunately, and I was talking to Nick Dorsey yesterday about the same subject, and also Jeff Young, about the benefit of building a community and asking for help and getting some connections on LinkedIn has been a huge benefit for me. And I feel totally, 2020 has actually been good for my business this year. Not everything has been great,
right.
And I feel very fortunate and blessed this year for all of the abundance that has arrived in my life. And one of the downsides of that is when you're doing a lot of client work, I don't have as much time to engage and connect with the community and schedule Zoom sessions and things like that. And so there's a balance. How do you recommend people balance those kinds of items in real life with being consistent and also?
I would say, because this is what works for me. Okay. I'm not on LinkedIn all day. I'm on LinkedIn for different reasons. Maybe a half hour or so in the morning, maybe a little bit for lunchtime, and maybe a little bit at night, because different people are on the platform then. I think that's a big part of it. But even more than that, you want to make sure that you're being found. And a lot of people make assumptions. Like, you can put the keywords that you want to be found by in more than one place. It doesn't just have to be in an about summary section. It can be with jobs that you've had. And you want to make sure that you have skills there. Don't assume that just because you know that everyone knows Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word, don't assume that when they do job searches that they're not looking for those terms. I mean, again, you can't make an assumption. But above all, you want to be genuine. With whatever you do, you want to be genuine. I do not advocate having someone write your LinkedIn profile for you. It's not beneficial. It's got to be in your voice. And above all, you want to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that are interesting that don't have that in their profile.
Right.
It's like your profile is more boring than you are, much more boring than you are. So spice it up, folks. Spice it up. Nick Dorsey says, I put links in the comments. That's a great, another strategy. Don't put it in the post, put it in the comments. It's much more effective that way.
And also, the whole idea of tagging people has changed a lot too. You know, it used to be tag a lot of people. Now, the more people you tag, if they don't reply back or acknowledge your post, that's going to affect where you stand in being searched. So you want to tag very judiciously, if at all.
Yeah. I sometimes feel lazy because I don't tag a lot of people, and I don't necessarily I don't follow a lot of the rules of the algorithm, because it's like, okay, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do.
You can't get caught up. You cannot get caught up with the algorithm. So many people say, I have less views than before. I'm not getting in. It doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you're relevant and you have the same message, because I don't care that I don't have the same views as before. It's about quality versus quantity. And I think so many people get hung up on the numbers. I mean, there are people that have millions of followers and hundreds of thousands of comments. Good for them. Nothing wrong with that. But again, it's a quality versus quantity thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Nancy says, be consistent and create content that grows. I love that concept of content that grows.
Yes.
You know, I think every year, like, there's been 10 tips in 10 days or a challenge of something.
Right.
And that seems to build a lot of momentum a lot of times. This year didn't seem to catch on with a lot of people. However, I'm sure that there's things like that will catch on.
Well, I did something this year a little bit different. I said, what are the top 10 words you don't want to hear about next year anymore? The overused words. Or phrases.
What was your number one?
One is your mic on? I mean, think about that. One is like Zoom fatigue. One is rolling this together. I mean, it's like, all right.
Yeah. It's like, okay. There's a lot of people that learned how to Zoom this year.
Yeah, so, I know.
Michael Baker says, is there a program that broadcasts to multiple social media networks? There is a lot of,
absolutely.
Michael, there's a lot of them. One that a friend of mine, Ovi, makes is Be Social. It's BEE Social. There's one that I used to use all the time is eClincher. I love that one. Social Pilot is another one that I've used. There's also the normal ones that you hear all the time. You probably have a few on your list, don't you?
Yeah, I would ask one question back. Is there a benefit to broadcasting to all social media places with the same content?
Well, and I also want to put a caveat on that. There's a difference between broadcasting to all networks and sharing the same piece of information on all networks. Because, like, for myself, I create different content for different networks.
Right.
And I schedule it. There's things that I schedule out on a regular basis. However, it's not, and that's just, I still have to create it. I still have to, do the things that I do. But So you have to be cautious with automation. Automation can go bad quickly if it's not done correctly. So
yeah, I think like I've just started to get into Instagram a little bit, and a little bit into Twitter, but I waited a while till I was going to be able to do it more often. And I think with whatever you do, I hesitate about doing too much too quickly because you're going to be all over the place. Um, LinkedIn is great for one thing. Facebook is great for other things. Pinterest and all that. I think that's one of the challenges now. There's so much social media, and there's more that's coming up this year. A
yeah.
lot of things are coming down the pike.
Well, Nick and I were talking about yesterday. We were talking about Clubhouse.
Right. Yeah. I actually just joined Clubhouse.
Yeah, I've been on Clubhouse for a little while. I'm growing my audience slowly and showing up. But he gets engagement. Nick says he gets his live stream, gets big engagement. Great. And I have, when I first started on LinkedIn Live, I got phenomenal engagement. You know, the numbers were great. And then they kind of leveled off. And I think it's because I think it's just like Zoom, and, you know, people get fatigued by it, and they, you know, get used to seeing my notification. And so it becomes noise and they just ignore it. But it's like, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a reason. And it's to highlight people like yourself and share people that are doing great things out there. And it's an experiment for me to be able to pursue helping more people with live streaming and podcasting and over at this Pirate Syndicate. So the Pirate Syndicate is actually the business goal, and creating shows for other people is my ultimate goal. And I want to be able to bring on other producers that are producing other shows. I'm producing content and courses to help people understand and appreciate and learn more about live streaming. And this year, one of the big initiatives is growing my YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, love to have you go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that bell, smash that like button, all that.
And the other thing that I started this year for engagement is I have a weekly LinkedIn lunch and learn that I do every Tuesday from 1 to 2. And I've invited guests on, and it started in June when a bunch of us just chatted. And then people that are in transition, I said, why don't you guys present to the group and just market yourself and brand yourself? So now it's 6 months later, we get 100 or so people, and we're probably going to get one platform to the other. But it was just an idea for me just to kind of talk to people, because I wouldn't, you know, it's like we all have our stories about stuff, and I'd love to have you on as well at some point too.
I love that. I love that. Great info about posting and consistency with content. That is so true. Thank you so much, Kathy. And Kenneth, thank you so much for sharing all this information. Sure. Nancy says, hashtag abundance.
Abundance. I mean, it's funny. I actually created a hashtag Introverts Unite on LinkedIn, and it's got a decent following. I just figured, why not? I mean, and so if you put the same hashtag all the time, I don't know if you have your hashtag Pirate Broadcast. So,
well, I also have the hashtags. I use the hashtags a lot. Kindness is cool and smiles are free, because that's kind of
right. That's great.
Yeah. So, and I actually had a Facebook, Kenneth. I had a Facebook message come up, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. You know, the memories, it's like 6 years ago. I was using that same theme. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. So I've been, you know, sharing that for years, and it's still true today. It's, you know, people are people. We're all in this together, folks. You know, we're all on the same rock flying through space, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't come together in a more meaningful way and coordinate our efforts in a mutual direction and kind of find a middle ground on everything.
Or I also think sometimes just turn off the TV at times. Just totally decompress. It's not going to change from hour to hour for the most part.
Yeah. Nick Dorsey says, I change my posting all the time, just some text, then video, then photos. And the ones getting a lot of traction for me lately are posting GIFs. I'll have to try that. I'll have to try some GIFs. Nancy says, show up, be real. Yes. Absolutely. Love that. Nick says, I'm the same way, Russ. I do my own thing. Fantastic. Great info on the tagging. Nancy says, it's great to hear. Don't get caught up on the algorithm, especially
Absolutely.
for the
It
newbie.
doesn't matter. I'd
Don't.
rather have, if I post the same time, I get the same people all the time that kind of know to expect me to be there.
Yeah.
And it's relevant stuff. And it's not, if you have 100 people versus 10,000, what difference does it make if those 10,000 people are just liking it and just looking at it? And again, views don't mean that they're looking at it. Views mean you're scrolling in the feed. It's not the same as someone actually watching what you do. So you got to really think about the numbers in different ways.
Yeah. I really think that there's an opportunity here that we can actually really help a lot of people. And this information, Kenneth, has been incredibly valuable today. And I appreciate you showing up, being a pirate. Michael Baker says attraction over self-promotion. Absolutely. People over profits. We all are in business, and LinkedIn is a business-focused platform. And you can still be kind and considerate, and you can actually have a little bit of empathy for other people and still make money. It's not that I'm here today. I've spent years learning some of the skills that I've learned, and it's okay for me to charge and create value from that. Yeah. It's okay for people to charge money for their skills. So.
And that's the thing. A lot of people make the assumption. I mean, if you're going to pay someone to do work around your house, they're not going to do it for free. Or if you talk to a doctor or something, free advice is free advice, but we all have had our knowledge. I would just say one other thing. Think about what you post. I have so many people that are LinkedIn ninjas and LinkedIn supermen. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I know them, a lot of them, and they're great people, but how much do you have to pump your chest? If you're good, and they'll trust you. And I think that's important.
Howard says automation is a double-edged sword, and that is absolutely
true.
Yeah.
I actually posted a post about an automated request that I got, and it was hi, and it had first name in brackets. So the first name was not included. I put it up there as a thing not to do.
Yeah.
Hey, Hannah, how are you? Going to be speaking with you in a few weeks.
Yeah, no kidding. Hannah says, what about Restream.io, Crowdcast, or StreamYard? Well, we're streaming right now today, live streaming on StreamYard, and I do stream to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter until it migrates over to Periscope until it migrates over to Twitter directly. I hope they work out the API and all of that kind of stuff. But Crowdcast is another platform that I met the founders, Cy and the boys over in San Francisco. And Crowdcast is a great platform for webinars and putting together, a paywall for some of your content if you're doing a lot of paid content. If you want to, or you want to collect emails, it's a great way to build emails up. And Restream is another way that you can actually use OBS or live streaming platforms, and you want to broadcast to multiple platforms. I think Restream has, 20, 30 locations you can stream to all at once.
I mean, I'm going to probably do StreamYard later on this month because I know Hannah's going to be overbooked if we try to do it the way we have. And I've been actually testing it off to the side before I actually go live because I want to make sure.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that anytime you want. You need an iPhone on Clubhouse. That is true.
Yes, it is. But it's been cool being in meetings and talking to people, and it's just weird. I mean, any suggestions you can give for me as to how to get involved besides just being in the rooms?
Yeah, start your own room.
Okay.
Get a little posse, like you said, the network posse.
Okay.
And pick a subject like LinkedIn and open up a room, start the dialogue, and carry it on and be consistent. Have it like on a Monday night LinkedIn motivation session and ramp up your LinkedIn. And then
Beth Granger just invited me to it, so actually I should have just taken her up on it. But I definitely have to give a shout out to all the people on the call who are supporting me and who I appreciate very much. I'm happy to connect with anyone anytime. I would just have this thing. Tell me why you want to connect, not because I want to bust your chops, but I know so many different people. It would be helpful to have a frame of reference.
Well, and if you connect with Kenneth after this episode and you see this episode in the future, just reach out to him and say, hey, I saw you on the Pirate broadcast. I'm a pirate. Kindness is cool, smiles are free, and give him a frame of reference.
And definitely, like Nancy says, it can be overwhelming. And I say this to everyone at the beginning, don't try to do too much.
Yeah.
If you go to a presentation, you're going to be overwhelmed. Do it slowly. Get one thing, because it's your profile. It's not, you can change it. No one's going to care that much realistically. So if you save it and save it and save it, it's not like you're doing this resume that you have to send out perfectly. It's okay to try things out.
Life is an experiment. It's like an instrument. We have to learn we practice at it. Don't think of it as perfection. Think of it as progress, daily progress.
Absolutely.
So Kenneth Lang, Nancy says, thank you for the valuable information. It can and has been overwhelming being new to the platform. This gives me focus and a sigh of relief. Absolutely, Nancy.
Absolutely.
You've done some amazing work on the platform. You made some great connections. You've been involved and engaged in the posts in the community. And, it's really, really important to understand that it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. In fact, some of my most important mistakes have turned out to be the biggest steps I've taken in my life. So, and I won't even call them mistakes. I'll call them more like learning experiences.
Well,
my educational opportunities.
I mean, to be serious, very few people engage on the platform. You hear the number, there's 700 million users. Less than 1% of the people actually engage. So don't be, it blew my mind the first time, but then I see it now. And have fun. I mean, my favorite post that I posted all the time, and here in New Jersey and in the Northeast, we get something called Malamars from Nabisco, which are the marshmallow things. So in September, I said, it's Malamar season. Are you going to get your Malamars? And I put a picture of Malamars up. And I was like, oh my God, what are Malamars? It's just about getting engagement. It was nothing to do with anything else. And it was a fun thing.
Just an experiment. Michael Baker says, kindness is cool and smiles are free. And you make a difference. Absolutely. Wendy, it's early for you. What are you doing up? Kindness is cool. Let me get on Wendy. Pirate size good morning to Kenneth and Russ. Fantastic. Lots of comments this morning. I really appreciate everyone for joining us today. Kenneth, it's been a huge opportunity to get to know you a little better, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing out there. And, if there's anything I can do to add value to your day, please don't hesitate to reach out.
I want you on my LinkedIn Live. I want you on my present. So we'll talk about that later. The same goes for anyone else. If you want more information, definitely reach out to me. But thanks again. It's been great being on the podcast with you all, and have a great day.
And then Leslie says, like that educational opportunities. Darren says, good morning. Another great topic. I just want to make sure that Leslie says, here's Leslie. Thank you for sharing great information. I just know, thank you so much for everybody for being here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this information with you, because it's all, like I said, we're all part of the equation and we're all here together. So let's continue to learn, because people like Kenneth take out their time. They spend a lot of time and energy learning these skills, these techniques, and some of the things that can help you out. So showing up for the Pirate broadcast can help you in your journey. Ask questions, reach out to me, DM me. If there's a subject or a topic you want to learn more about or talk about or have me bring to the table, I'm more than happy to contribute that to the community. And also, I'm totally serious. 2020 was continuing to grow. 2021, I'm going to expand. That's my theme. I want to start building up on my YouTube channel, get more subscribers on my podcast. So reach out, subscribe, find me on other locations, and let's grow this together. Let's build a community that believes in kindness, because, kindness is cool.
Yes.
Smiles are free.
Absolutely.
And Kenneth, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
You enjoy the day. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.